225 people filed claims with the compensation fund established after Jeffrey Epstein's death. 150 survivors received payments totaling $121 million, according to fund administrator Jordana Feldman's final report in February 2022. And justice? That question remains unanswered for many. In our last episode, we examined Ghislaine Maxwell, her role, her trial, her conviction. Today we turn to the people for whom we conduct this investigation, the survivors, their testimonies, the documents that corroborate their accounts. Courtney Wild was 14 when she met Jeffrey Epstein in 2002, according to her testimony in the Crime Victims' Rights Act lawsuit filed in 2008. She testified before Congress in February 2020, stating that she was paid $300 to give Epstein massages at his Palm Beach residence. "I was sexually abused by Jeffrey Epstein starting at the age of 14, Wild told the House Oversight Committee. Her words preserved in the official congressional record. The Miami Herald's Perversion of Justice investigation, published in November 2018 by reporter Julie K. Brown, identified more than 80 women who said they were molested or sexually abused by Epstein. Brown's reporting drew from police reports, court filings, and direct interviews with survivors. Federal prosecutors in the Southern District of Florida had identified 36 underage victims in their original 2007 investigation. Documents later released by the Department of Justice confirm. Annie Farmer testified at Ghislaine Maxwell's trial in November 2021. She was 16 in 1996 when Maxwell arranged her trip to Epstein's New Mexico ranch. "I felt sick to my stomach," Farmer told the court, describing Maxwell's conduct during what was presented as an educational mentorship opportunity. The scale emerged slowly, then overwhelmingly. Flight logs subpoenaed by attorneys showed Epstein's private aircraft, a Boeing 727 registered as tail number N908JE, traveled between his properties in Palm Beach, Manhattan, New Mexico, Paris, and his private island in the United States Virgin Islands. These logs, entered into evidence during Maxwell's trial, documented hundreds of flights over more than a decade. Virginia Giuffre stated in her deposition that she traveled on this aircraft approximately 20 times between 2000 and 2002. FBI documents, unsealed in July 2019, revealed that agents had interviewed multiple witnesses who described seeing young women at Epstein's Manhattan townhouse, his Palm Beach estate, and Little St. James Island. The Southern District of New York indictment charged Epstein with sex trafficking minors between 2002 and 2005, creating a vast network of underage victims for him to sexually exploit. But numbers tell only part of the story. Documents do the rest. In July 2024, a federal court unsealed hundreds of pages from the civil case Virginia Giuffre brought against Ghislaine Maxwell. According to Reuters and The Guardian, these documents contain depositions, witness statements, and flight logs spanning decades. The files revealed not just individual crimes but a systematic operation. The unsealed records named prominent figures who had contact with Epstein, though contact does not equal complicity. Former President Bill Clinton appeared in flight logs multiple times, a fact his spokesperson acknowledged to the New York Times while denying any knowledge of criminal activity. Britain's Prince Andrew, Duke of York, faced direct allegations from Virginia Giuffre that she was trafficked to him when she was 17, claims he initially denied before settling her civil lawsuit in 2022 for an undisclosed sum, according to BBC and CNN. Lawyer Alan Dershowitz appeared in depositions. He has consistently denied all allegations. What mattered most were the victim testimonies. These pages contain their voices. Virginia Roberts Giuffre became the most public face of Epstein's crimes. Born in 1983 in California, she met Ghislaine Maxwell at Mar-a-Lago in 2000, where Giuffre worked as a spa attendant. She was 16. Maxwell recruited her, according to Giuffre's court testimony and interviews with the Miami Herald, by offering training as a masseuse. Within weeks, Epstein was sexually abusing her, according to her sworn depositions in the Maxwell case. Giuffre's testimony described years of trafficking. Court documents show she was transported to Epstein's properties in New York, Florida, New Mexico, and the Virgin Islands. Flight logs corroborate her presence on Epstein's aircraft. She alleged abuse by Epstein and said she was directed to have sexual contact with several of his associates, claims detailed in her civil filings. In 2015, she filed her lawsuit against Maxwell. The case settled in 2017, but the court battle over sealing the documents continued until 2024, when Judge Loretta Preska ordered their release, citing public interest, according to court records reported by NPR and the New York Times. Giuffre now lives in Australia with her family and advocates for trafficking survivors. Courtney Wild was named as Victim 1 in the initial Palm Beach police investigation. Detective Joe Riccari's report, obtained by the Miami Herald, documented her detailed account. She described being paid $200 per visit and recruiting other young girls, for which she received a finder's fee, something she later expressed deep guilt about in interviews with CBS News. Wild said she brought roughly 6 other girls to the house before she stopped going. When prosecutors negotiated Epstein's 2008 plea deal, they did not inform Wild or other victims, a violation of the Crime Victims' Rights Act according to a 2019 federal court ruling. Wild and other victims sued the government in February 2020. Federal prosecutors formally apologized to her and other victims for this violation, CNN reported. Wild testified at Ghislaine Maxwell's trial in 2021. She continues to advocate for victims' rights legislation. Maria Farmer and her sister Annie came forward with allegations that predated most other known victims. Maria Farmer was 26 and working as an art student when she met Epstein and Maxwell in 1995, according to her FBI statement and interviews with the New York Times. She was not underage, but her sister Annie was 16 when, according to both sisters' testimonies, she was abused at Epstein's New Mexico ranch in 1996. Maria reported the incidents to the FBI in 1996, making her the first known victim to contact federal authorities about Epstein and Maxwell. The FBI took her statement. Nothing happened. No investigation was opened, no charges filed, no follow-up calls made. Source: Maria Farmer interviews with The Guardian and NBC News, 2019. Maria's story reveals a pattern of institutional failure. She described how Epstein and Maxwell used their connections to the art world as recruitment tools. They promised young women opportunities, introductions, career advancement. The reality was exploitation. Maria told investigators that Maxwell assaulted her during what was supposed to be a professional massage at Wexner's Ohio estate. Her sister Annie suffered abuse at Epstein's Zorro Ranch in New Mexico while still a minor. Both women reported these crimes. Both were ignored for decades. The FBI's inaction in 1996 allowed Epstein to continue his activities for 13 more years before his first arrest. Federal authorities have never fully explained why Maria Farmer's report was shelved. No agent was disciplined. No internal review was made public. After Epstein's death in August 2019, his estate established the Epstein Victims Compensation Program. Attorney Jordana Feldman administered the fund, which operated independently from the criminal justice system. The program received 225 claims from women who alleged abuse by Epstein. 150 claimants received payments totaling approximately $121 million, according to Reuters reporting in February 2021. The fund required claimants to waive their right to sue Epstein's estate. Each woman had to provide evidence, testimony, and documentation of abuse. A panel reviewed claims and determined payment amounts based on severity and corroborating evidence. Some victims accepted the settlements. Others rejected them, choosing to preserve their legal rights against other defendants, including Ghislaine Maxwell and various institutions. The compensation program closed in February 2021. 75 claimants received no payment. Their claims were either withdrawn, deemed ineligible, or rejected after review. The fund represented financial acknowledgement but not legal accountability. Money changed hands, but no day in court occurred for most survivors. In December 2024, a federal court ordered the release of previously sealed documents related to the Epstein case. The files included depositions, witness statements, flight logs, and correspondence previously kept from public view. Names of associates, enablers, and potential witnesses appeared in the records. The declassified materials confirmed what investigators and journalists had long suspected. Epstein's network was vast, his connections powerful, his operation protected by wealth and influence. The documents showed how he moved between elite circles, academic institutions, financial firms, political fundraisers, scientific conferences, always cultivating relationships, always seeking vulnerability. The victims of Jeffrey Epstein received compensation. They did not receive justice. Epstein died before trial. Most key co-conspirators were never charged. Institutions that enabled abuse faced no criminal penalties. The FBI's early failures remain largely unexamined. The full scope of Epstein's crimes may never be known. What remains are survivors, public records, and unanswered questions. The next episode examines the closing summary of our introductory block, what we've learned across these first episodes, and where the investigation goes from here. This was an episode about the victims and the documents, about the women who found the courage to speak. This channel depends on your support. If this content matters to you, link in the description, subscribe. See you next time.